funny. I actually have you in my book, just FYI.
Oh, cool.
Because the whole part is to take action. And when I was younger, I'm a big introvert, just in general, which is, it's funny that a lot of people in our industry a lot of people that put stuff online are introverts because it's easier just to put it, I don't have to be in front of anybody. I can just sit at my house and I can record something and put it out there, and then I can hang out by myself for a little bit. And I was really shy when I was younger, and I had a realization in 8th grade that if I wanted a girlfriend, I'd have to start talking to girls. And I used to actually say, okay, what's the first sentence I'm going to come up with when I want to talk to a girl? And I'm going to go 3, 2, 1. I'm going to force myself to say the first one. Yeah. And I would actually count down. And it's funny because as when your book first came out, I was like, fuck yeah. Like there's science behind this whole thing. Like it actually makes sense. But the most important part that I think for people to take off of what you said is it's not the actual taking action. It's that the first action is the decision to do the countdown, which is a little micro win towards the movement of where you're trying to go to actually get yourself to do something.
Yeah, you're on the couch and you've been blowing off the gym forever and you're like, I got to get 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You stand up. You're now moving in a new direction. Yeah. So that's why it works.
So tell me about now. Okay, so you went from not wanting to be a speaker, not wanting to be a writer and all this, and you decide that you're going to start going down this route. I want to ask you about imposter syndrome because the last person, usually almost all of my podcasts are me actually speaking directly to camera, and I have a few interviews. Last person I had on was Tony Robbins. So I went from Tony Robbins to Mel Robbins, which is kind of cool. And when I Googled you, I don't know if you Google Mel Robbins, it actually says, is Mel Robbins married to Tony Robbins?
This fucking drives me crazy. No, I'm not kidding. This actually pisses me off.
Really?
Yeah, because for years, I would show up at speaking events and everyone would be like, oh, are you his husband? Her whatever the hell it's called.
Where's Tony?
Yeah, and I'm like, why are you assuming that I'm here? And then it burned me because I'm like, oh, you must think that the only reason why I'm here is because of that. So
So with transitioning into going into self-development, writing a book, with me, what was interesting is I had the idea for the podcast in January 2015, and I didn't start it and actually put my first episode out until August of 2015, because I thought, who would listen to a 29-year-old when they could listen to Tony Robbins? Like, this guy's way better than I am. And then after 8 months, I was like, I read that why would they listen to me? There's no reason why somebody would listen to me. Did you have imposter syndrome come in when you started to actually go down this route and decide this is something that you wanted to try?
So, of course. And here's what I want to talk about. So imposter syndrome is a really good thing. Because imposter syndrome means you actually care about the thing that you are a beginner in. See, you're not an imposter, you're a beginner. And it's really important to reframe this, because when you say, I have imposter syndrome, you have basically called yourself an imposter. And I want you to stop doing that. I want you to recognize that feeling of, I don't belong here, or I don't know what I'm doing, or I don't have permission to do this, or people are going to find out that I don't know what I'm doing. I want you to see that moment of fear that comes up as a really good thing, because it means you're stepping into a space or a room that you really want to be in. And I want you to start calling yourself a beginner. You're not an imposter, you're a beginner. And when you start calling yourself a beginner, you own where you are. And you also can now say the most important 3 words when it comes to building confidence. I don't know, but I'm going to figure it out. Because what does a beginner do? A beginner studies the thing that they want to get good at. A beginner asks for help. A beginner admits that they don't know something. And so I hate that phrase, fake it till you make it, because when you tell yourself, I'm just going to fake it till I make it, you're calling yourself a fake.
Yeah.
And I don't think you should do that. I think you should say the truth, which is you're just a fucking beginner. Of course you're nervous. That means you're a beginner. And here's the other thing that's interesting about this feeling of imposter syndrome is that you don't feel it in rooms you don't care about.
That's so true.
You only feel it in the places and spaces that you want to be in. And so embrace the fact that you're a beginner, own it. And what's also cool is if you don't like waltz in somewhere and pretend like you got this shit all figured out, nobody's going to think you're an inauthentic phony. People are going to want to help you.